My name is Grace. I'm 46, and the last 2 years of my life could have been written by a bitter soap opera writer with a revenge kink. It's taken everything in me to hold it together for my daughters, 17-year-old Emily and 15-year-old Sophie. But last week, I reached my breaking point, and maybe for the first time, I didn't just defend myself. I went nuclear. Let's rewind. My ex-husband died in a car accident last year. We were in the middle of a very messy divorce when it happened. Why messy? Because that man, who I once believed was my partner in life, was cheating on me. And not just some casual fling. He had a full-blown relationship on the side and fathered 2 boys with the woman. The woman who also died in that same crash. So here I was, suddenly a widow to a man I no longer loved, mother to 2 teenage daughters who had to discover their father's betrayal by accidentally seeing texts pop up on his phone. And now, the unexpected twist, being blamed for everything by his parents. My ex-in-laws, Robert and Margaret, 78 and 80, lost their son, yes. But instead of grieving with integrity, they turned that grief into a campaign of harassment. They wanted custody of my daughters. They wanted to move in with us. They said things like, "We're the only ones left who can teach your girls how to be good Christians." I said, "Absolutely not." And that was the beginning of war. Fast forward to last weekend. There's a local weekend market where people sell everything from vegetables to homemade candles. It's always buzzing with life. Sophie's birthday was coming up, and since her party isn't until later in the month, I decided to give her a little gift of freedom, a shopping budget and the chance to get whatever she wanted. She was all giggles and joy, darting from booth to booth, arms full of chocolates and handmade soap. But after an hour, I noticed she hadn't returned. My phone buzzed. It was her. She was crying. My heart dropped. I could barely make out what she was saying. Something about a group of old women, shouting, cornering her by the jam stall. I grabbed Emily's hand and ran. And there they were, 6 older women surrounding Sophie like a pack of gossiping hyenas, wagging fingers and quoting scripture about honoring thy elders. They accused her of being unchristian for refusing to play happy family with her poor baby brothers. These were women from my ex-in-law's church. Margaret's little army of self-righteous keyboard warriors had stepped into real life. Emily helped her sister collect her things while I stepped between them and those women. "You're harassing a child," I said. My voice was calm but loud enough to cut through their condescension. One woman, who used to hand out bulletins at the church, pointed a wrinkled finger at me and said, "You're failing your duties as a Christian mother and wife." Actually, I smiled. "My only duty right now is to get my daughters away from you vultures." Security was called. We were all asked to leave. The women tried to follow us to the car, throwing passive-aggressive blessings our way. "May God forgive your cold heart," one said, but I was already planning what I'd do next. That night, once the girls were asleep, I messaged a longtime friend of mine who still attends the church. I told him what happened. He apologized profusely and then told me something that nearly made me laugh out loud. Apparently, Margaret, my ex-mother-in-law, had made this epic, drama-laced post on the church's Facebook group. She claimed I was leaving them homeless, that the girls ignored them, that we had abandoned the 2 innocent baby boys, and blamed us for everything from her high blood pressure to world hunger. And get this, she said the affair children were our surrogate twins, and that I rejected them because they were boys. That lie crossed a line I didn't even know existed. This church, while obnoxiously conservative, has one hard line they don't cross: cheating. It's their golden sin. I knew exactly what I had to do. I still had everything from the divorce. Texts, emails, pictures, even voice recordings. I went to a print shop, paid extra for high-gloss, high-quality paper, and made binders, customized binders. Each one looked like a church hymnal. Inside, the first page, a full-color photo of my ex-husband kissing his mistress in our living room, captioned, "A love story." Next, screenshots of their texts, disgustingly sweet, sometimes gross, often cruel toward me and the girls. Then, messages between my ex and his parents, them encouraging the affair, them calling me a barren woman, them mocking my daughters for being spoiled and disrespectful, and finally, emails after his death, where they blamed my daughters for their father's demise. In one, Margaret literally wrote, If your girls had kept quiet, he wouldn't have been driving so recklessly. They murdered him. 2 days after he died, I dropped the binders off early Sunday morning at the church. Slipped them in with the regular hymn books on the back table. By the time the service ended, my phone was buzzing with messages from mutual acquaintances. Chaos. The church group's Facebook was lit on fire. People were stunned, shocked. The term Jezebel came up a lot. Not for me, but for the mistress. The pastor had to jump in to moderate and beg for calm. Margaret's lies were unraveling fast. People were suddenly outraged not just about the cheating, but about how she treated my daughters. A few even wrote letters of apology to Emily and Sophie. One message I received said, "You might have lost your way during the divorce, but now we understand why. You were betrayed. You were human." Even in their twisted logic, I'd somehow become the sympathetic one. As for Margaret and Robert, they were humiliated. They left the church within a week. Margaret posted on her own Facebook about how cruel people had become. She said the church was no longer a place of forgiveness and elder respect. She mourned her strong son and blamed the world for not cherishing the elderly. I didn't reply, but I did screenshot it, just in case. Final note, my ex had a will. He told me once that our daughters were the beneficiaries, but after his death, I found out he had changed it, leaving everything to his parents. I never fought for any of it. His life insurance and personal account went to them, and they still claim to be destitute. Funny how the ones who scream the loudest about Christian values are often the ones who need to reread the book.